My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Wonder Woman. And this review will have spoilers, so there's your warning. But I remember when this movie came out in 2017, people were overhyping this movie to no end. They were calling it one of the best superhero movies ever made. And even though I still enjoy this movie, it doesn't stick the landing. But let's talk about what I did like first. And I think the direction by Patty Jenkins is absolutely top notch. She does such a great job bringing Themyscira to life in a pitch perfect manner. The production design, the costumes, she really delivers, and I was really impressed in how much world building she was able to get in such a short period of time. I also think she shoots the action sequences incredibly well. I think she hits the bullseye on the tone for this movie. It's funny without ever compromising the drama or the story. And yeah, I think she really does a great job here. And I think you've also got yourself some pretty strong performances. Okay, look, I I hesitate to say strong performances because I do like Gal Gadot. I do. I think she plays this character very well. I don't think she gets to greatness. I don't know if she has the charisma to carry a movie, but she's with Chris Pine for so much of this movie and he elevates her performance as well. And I think because of him, I like the performances altogether. And Chris Pine, Steve Trevor could have been a nothing character, but he is so well written. He's played perfectly with lots of charisma and charm and personality. And their romance is the heart and soul of this movie. And you really do buy into it. I've got my issues with the last act, but what does work about it for me is Steve's sacrifice and how that affects Diane. It's the one great aspect of the last act. The two lead performances do really work for me. Then you've got Robin Wright and Connie Nelson, and I'm gonna be honest, I have a hard time telling these two actresses apart in Themyscira clothes. They just look so similar, and the performances are fine. They just don't really have a ton to do. And I do like the out of water humor this movie has. Sorry, the fish out of water humor this movie has. I think it does land for the most part, especially when she takes the ice cream and she's like, "Oh, this is wonderful. You did a great job." And she's just overthrilled. I love that moment. And I think this movie also does have some terrific action scenes. The no man's land scene is just perfection. It's moving, exciting, and it's hopeful. And it just fully delivers on all the emotions it needed to. And I also love how once the fight is coming to an end and they've just got the one sniper left, how Steve remembers what he saw on the beach with the shield, and he gets Diana to do the same thing. It's just a nice little throwback that was very confidently written because they were counting on us remembering that small moment from earlier on, and we did. So because of that, that scene works. And I do like how this movie could have been how do I say this? Super feminist. There's definitely elements present, but there's a scene when Steve's like, "Dan, you can't cross there. No man ever has." And when I first saw this movie, I remember rolling my eyes being like, "Oh, she's gonna say, good thing I'm not a man." And then she didn't say that. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, you held back there. Good job, movie." And I also like how Steve and his buddies actually do show bravery. They do stuff. They're not just treated like idiots. So I think the movie really does a great job with all of that stuff. But where the movie loses me is in its last act. Now, I do want to say before I get to the obvious complaints that there was this entire bit of time where they go to a gala, and I just find this to be so unneeded. You could have easily gone from Steve and Diana's night to the final battle. This just feels like a weird way to take up time. It could have been left on the cutting floor room because it does drag down the pacing a bit. I also don't like how she goes from the gala to the town that just got poisoned, and then she goes to the airfield, and Danny Houston's character is there already. It just feels like everybody teleports in such a short period of time. So it just feels off to me. I know this is a hot take, but I know it was introduced in a previous movie, but I'm going to repeat it here. I do not like the ding 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 music for Wonder Woman. It just doesn't fit to me, and it just sounds like it's trying too hard. I think the CGI in the last act is pretty bad. And let's get into thematically why it doesn't work. Because Diana is convinced the entire movie that if she kills Ares, then all war will end. And Steve is trying to teach her about human nature and how there will always be war. And how there will always be good and bad humans. And she's trying to show her the nuance of mankind. And I love that. And he gives her this great speech. And then we get David Thewlis. And I think it is absolutely baffling that they went ahead with it after his speech. I do not know what they were thinking. To show us a nuanced view on mankind would have been so great, but then it's just like, Ares is here, and yes, they try to make it that he's kind of behind everything, but he's not, and it's just like, you can't have it both ways. If you include him, you're making it seem like everything is his fault. Or if it's not, then it's just an unnecessary inclusion. Either way, it's a lose-lose. So, I do not know why he's in this movie. Because he just muddles everything the movie was saying up until that point. And nobody likes this villain. Like, good villains aren't ever tryst villains. You've got to build them up. Have them be the threat of the entire movie. And if you're not willing to do that, then it just seems like a waste. And it also felt like it did the character of Diana dirty. Because it could have added to her character of her coming to terms that everything she thought she knew isn't always the case. And it could allow growth as a character, and this hinders her character growth just a bit. And the other two villains suck. Like Danny Houston and his weird, and then him getting very powerful, it's just really stupid. Dr. Poison, I feel like should have been the one and only villain of this movie. But I feel like she just gets thrown to the side. And there was like a scene when they poison a bunch of people, and he sews gas masks in, and she's like, "Why did you do that? They won't be any good." And he's like, "They don't know that." And then they do like this evil laugh. It's just so over the top and campy that it doesn't fit this movie. So, yeah, but I do want to repeat myself. As much as I don't like the last act, Steve's sacrifice is so hard-hitting and does add some necessary emotion. So, this movie isn't perfect, but I do think it's a pretty good movie. I think Patty Jenkins does a great job. I love this mix of having a superhero movie and a war movie at the same time. I think Gal Gadot and Chris Pine do a really great job. I think there are some fantastic moments here. I think the humor is well utilized. And despite the butchered last act, I still really enjoy this movie. So I'll give Wonder Woman a 6.5 out of 10. Okay, have you seen Wonder Woman? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin,